we're gonna start a workout here at 7. I don't know that anybody's gonna be able to jump on today because this is pretty last minute, but I'll obviously save it and just throw it up on Instagram for the day. What's up, Chris? There is a 10-second delay on the video, so if you're commenting, I won't be able to respond to it right away, but just take this opportunity to start talking about some equipment that you might want to start investing in. Got some people jumping on here. Hey, what's up, Barb? And so some equipment that might be really useful in times like this are going to be things like super bands, mini bands. I actually left all those at the club, so I have like some kettlebells. Today, since most people aren't going to have a ton of stuff, we're going to focus on a lot of body weight exercise. We're going to do basically a whole body push and really focusing on a good warm up and just going through some of the basics and making sure that we're moving well. And even in some of the basic body weight exercises, I feel like they're really underrated. People, yeah, I'll see you later, Barb. Looking forward to it. So I've been doing more Skype sessions with clients, and that's actually been pretty fun. And for any trainers who are going to watch this later, I recommend trying to get your clients on a Skype call and starting to learn some of the processes on how to do that, because they can still get a really good workout. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen as far as unemployment or if people are going to get paid in this industry. I guess we don't really know yet, but back to equipment. So kettlebells are also a really awesome, durable tool. Like, they last forever. And so most of the ones that we got were from On It. They're a little more expensive, but they're really nice. This is a 20 kg. But if you're just starting out with buying a set of kettlebells, go on the lighter side. I'd say 8 kg, 10 kg is probably a good starting point for anybody. Most people can squat or deadlift that, and maybe some other exercises that you could do, and then progressing to the 12, the 16, the 20, especially as you start to learn how to swing and deadlift. It's a great tool. And especially if you're interested in doing like Turkish get-ups, definitely start on the lighter side. But I don't know, this is going to be the next 2 weeks, and I don't know, this might change the way that we start integrating fitness for a lot of people. I assume that this isn't going to be the last time we have an issue like this where we have an outbreak, but it's nice to see that people are being proactive. And I think at first we all wanted to kind of dismiss the severity of all this stuff, but whatever's going on in Italy sounds really scary, and so if we can avoid that, that'd be great. So we're coming up on 7. Today we're going to focus in on more of just body weight stuff. So if you want to join in at 7 o'clock and you like to foam roll and stretch before you work out, just do it beforehand. Or if you're going to watch this video later, just do that stuff first and then come watch the video. Today will be full body push, and we'll see how long it takes to get through it. I wrote out like I would normally write a workout, and we'll see. Today we're also going to focus on a lot of eccentric movement, going through things slow. The only equipment you might need is, if you need a heel lift like I do for squatting, maybe just grab a couple of hard back books, and that could be helpful for just cleaning up that part of the workout. But it looks like it's 7 o'clock, so let's get going. As I mentioned, there's like a 10-second delay, so I won't be able to respond until I see it, and then once I get going, I'm probably not even going to look at anything. I'm just going to go through the workout. This is going to be a full body push day. Push day with eccentric focus. Try to remember all that so that as we go through the next couple weeks, we can be mindful of the different stresses that we're putting on the body. So, all right, first exercise that we're gonna do is just a glute bridge. Let's see. And I think a lot of people kind of dog this exercise. Like, you can make this exercise challenging if you really put the effort in. And the big thing that we want to focus on, especially since we're going to be mostly using our body weight, is making sure that we're creating that mind-body connection and creating a lot of tension. So I set up in my glute bridge, we're going to do 10 good reps. Like, what does that look like? So first thing is that I've got my feet either flat or I can go toes up, whatever helps me feel my posterior chain the most. And to make sure that you really are getting the most out of the hips, I want you to think about rolling your tailbone towards your face as you come and bridge up and get a good squeeze at the top. And coming down nice and slow, squeeze at the top. Big exhale, keep those abs on. So you don't have to even go up all the way, and I can already feel like a lot of tension in my glutes and hamstrings. You see, you know, where people make the mistake is they just kind of like push their hips up towards the ceiling and maybe arch their back, and they're not really getting extension at the hip, but they're using their, you know, lower back and spine. So keep your core engaged, drive through the heels, lead with the tailbone. You should feel a good amount of tension there. And so we're gonna go for 10 of those. I'm just gonna kind of predict where you're at. You're going nice and slow. Probably got like a couple more reps left. If that's still pretty easy for you, on the next round I'll give you a more challenging exercise. We'll go to a single leg, we'll go to a cook bridge, which is really one of my favorite bridging variations anyway. And so the next exercise we'll do just kind of reinforces good core control. It's just going to be a dead bug position. So from here, we can go knees up, hands up, really keeping that lower back flat on the floor. I can pull my toes towards my face. And we're going to mimic the same breathing that we're going to do as if we were going through the squat. So it's going to be an exhale as my leg lowers, tap, inhale, bringing it back. And so we're going to alternate, and we're going to also do 10 on each side. So inhale, come back, exhale, lower. Really focusing on pushing my lower back and being active about pushing my lower back into the floor. That's going to really help me engage my deep ab muscles, so that when I go to stand up, I can recreate that same tension and get the most out of my exercises, right? And so this is like one of the first things I might teach somebody, is making sure that they're breathing well, getting a good brace. And I don't know, how many of you guys at? You can make simple exercises challenging. So, I don't know, I assume you're maybe almost done. Like I said, a lot of the things that we're going to have to focus on in this particular type of workout is going to be like really being conscious of the tension that we're creating on our own. And so, make sure you're getting a good exhale, make sure you're really pushing that back flat, keeping those abs on. Next progression we go to is a side plank, so just making sure that we're hitting all different parts of the abs before we go to our squats later today. We're actually going to start from knees bent position. And I'm realizing now that I kind of blend in with the mat. I'm all black and the mat is black. Take that into consideration another day. So we're going to go both hands pressing into the floor. Big thing we want to see here is with this bottom hand that's taking on a lot of the load, I want to make sure that I'm packing my shoulder and keeping my armpit tight. I don't want to hang out on my shoulder or the front of my shoulder, especially if you have shoulder issues. We're going to make sure that we're keeping that armpit nice and tight. I'm going to push away from the floor, and I'm actually going to face my torso towards the ground a little bit, because I do want to get the obliques and the intercostals and the things here on the side. You know, if we're a little bit more straight up, it's a little bit harder to just feel that same tension through more of like the oblique in here, like in the front side, like the rib cage. And so we're going to focus on that. Again, if this is kind of easy for you, then on the next round I'll give you something more challenging. But focus on your breath here. So, you know, typically when I'll do plank variations with clients, I do it in breaths. And so we'll take 5 breaths on each side, and then we'll go to our next exercise. So it's here. I can use both hands to really push away from the ground to help me engage as much of that rib cage as possible. I'm going to flip over so I'm even. Just give it a couple reps while you finish up your sides and turn over to the other. So I tell my clients I want to hear their breath. Like when they take that exhale, like I want to be able to hear it so I know that they're really getting all that air out and really engaging their deep ab muscles. Otherwise, like I said, it's easy to dog some of these exercises, and we want to get the most out of all this stuff since we're taking the time to do it, right? And so, let's see. If some of those were too easy for you, then we're going to progress here. And so that cook bridge, if the glute bridge is good enough and you're able to feel backside posterior chain, I'm just going to have you continue doing 10 of those for this round. If you want something a little bit more challenging, we're going to go one knee to the chest and you're going to grab a hold. And then from here, you can either go foot flat or toe up. But make sure we're driving this toe on the bent leg towards our face as well. And from here, as I exhale, I'm driving my hip up. And you might notice that I don't get full hip extension, and that's totally okay. What I really enjoy about this particular exercise is it kind of locks me in a little bit of a flex position, so I can't extend and use my back. I have to drive all my tension through my hip. And so even if I don't go that high here today, as I progress and get stronger, ideally I'll be able to come up higher and higher. And if you've got tight hip flexors, that also might be a limiting factor. But let's shoot for 8 really good ones on each side, coming up nice and slow, getting a good squeeze, squeeze, inhale down, drive that heel through the floor. So I really like the cook bridge as a way to maximize that work of getting our posterior chain to really extend the hip. And so, just want to make sure I'm in frame. Okay. So the next one we got is the dead bug. So if this is too easy for you on the first one, I just think you're not trying hard enough. But there are progressions to this too. So if I take a good exhale and tap the heel, awesome. If you want to make it a little more challenging, we can straighten out the feet and then lower. And when you do that one in particular, when you straighten the feet out, you can go as far as you can, just don't let your lower back come off the ground. So if I get to a point where my lower back starts to arch, I've gone too far. And same thing, we're going to get 8 on each side, or 8 to 10. Again, I want you actively pushing your lower back into the ground, feeling those abs, good exhale as you breathe, and finishing out those reps. And just to reiterate some of the equipment that can be really helpful, like a big fan of kettlebells. I'm actually looking on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, and I've just been saving a bunch of the different things that I might like, and then I just wait for them to go down in price because a lot of people don't buy that stuff. So definitely looking to build some more kettlebells. Looking to get like some adjustable dumbbells, probably like some really good like stainless steel looking ones. Let's get back to that side plank here. And so this was too easy where you come up and you're taking a big exhale, then we're gonna go to the full plank. The way I'll have you do it though is the top leg, you're gonna take one step forward, and then so your feet are staggered, and then you come up and it's that same position of trying to face towards the ground and pushing away with both hands. And this should definitely get you to feel even more tension through those obliques and through like the intercostals as I push away. Ooh. You're gonna go 5 breaths on each side. Just gonna do a couple on this side just to even it out. And again, that top foot is gonna go in front. top leg in front, feet aligned up, and I'm pushing away with both hands, facing my torso towards the ground a little bit more. I just like the position of this because it keeps you, again, from extending and using your back. What we want to maximize today when we do get to our squats is really learning how to engage our abs when we get to our push-up, that we're not cheating and using our back and extending our spine and doing all the weird stuff that people will do to compensate those movements. And so go ahead and finish up your breaths there. So there's 2 exercises we're going to do here before we get into our push-ups and squats. The main focus of these 2 exercises more has to do with the push-up position, but there is some benefit of one of the exercises and what we're going to do in our squats. So we're going to go through basically the bear position, which is all fours. And from here, what we're looking for is, and at the end of our push-up as well, is as I reach through, that I'm really trying to reach and that my shoulder blades are moving. And so, where people get stuck on their push-ups, a lot of times there's no movement in their shoulder blade, and there's a lot of movement here in the shoulder. That's probably better for like a bench press, but here for a push-up, we want to make sure those shoulder blades are moving. So I'm going to go to all fours, I'm going to reach away, and you can think more of like cat-cow, right? So if I go cat-cow, I'm trying to get more into that position of cat. I'm shifting my weight forward, pushing away. It doesn't have to be a dramatic rounding, like I don't have to go into a crazy amount of flexion. I just want the rib cage here to go back and up and feel like I'm loading my armpits. And then from there I can take good breaths. If people do this one right, it should be pretty challenging. I've seen like huge powerlifter people do this stuff and like they're sweating. But if you do want to make it more challenging, the way that we do that is just by raising the knees off the ground. So first, I'm pushing away, making sure that I'm feeling my armpits and not my neck and shoulders. If I want to challenge myself a little bit, I'm going to push my knees off the ground, keep shifting my weight forward. So my eyes should be pretty far over my fingers. Pushing away, feeling that reach. So when we do the push-ups later, that's the same kind of feeling we want to get. That we're pushing and reaching through the floor, really engaging the right muscles so that we're not doing some lazy push-ups later. Finish out, we're going to focus on like 5 breaths there on that one too. And then this exercise was actually, I'd seen it before, but I hadn't really used it until Dan put it into one of my programs. And I think he just called it handcuffs. And so the other thing we want to see when somebody goes into a push-up, especially at the bottom, is that the shoulder blades are coming together. Kind of like a row, right? We want to see the shoulder blades moving, and so we're not getting caught up on just using the front of our shoulder where people will feel a lot of discomfort or pain. And so we're going to lay face down. I might have to do something kind of weird with the couch, but make sure I'm in frame. And so with the handcuffs, we're going to focus on bringing our, start at 90, we're going to bring our hands up off the floor, squeezing our shoulder blades together, and then I'm going to bring them back here, and I'm trying to really squeeze my shoulder blades. Here, oh, snap, crackle, pop. Squeeze. Let's do 8 of those. Nice and slow. Making sure you're feeling that squeezing of the shoulder blades coming together so that when we get to those push-ups, we're getting through both ranges. We're bringing the shoulder blades together, we're reaching and bringing our shoulder blades around our rib cage. Whew. I usually don't work out in the morning. I can train people in the morning, but I'm usually more of like an afternoon kind of workout person. So this will be good for me to actually get up and just do this at the beginning. I'm still going to try and get another workout in today, but because what else am I going to do? Okay, let's go back to that all fours position. If that first round you were able to feel a good amount of tension just by being here in that all fours and taking some good breaths, go ahead and stay there. If you want to challenge yourself, feel free to push those knees off the ground. Just making sure that we're really feeling that tension here, like armpit, rib cage. I don't necessarily want you to feel a ton of your neck and shoulders. I think people feel that stuff enough as it is. So
Finishing out 5 breaths, and then we're going one more time with those handcuffs. Face down. Coming here, bringing those shoulder blades together. Coming around, getting a good squeeze. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Let's go for 8 of those. And then we're gonna go right into our squats. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. So finish out your handcuffs, and I think you probably still got a couple more reps. You know, because I struggle with ankle mobility for good body weight squat, I took a couple books. I actually haven't read either of these, but they look really good. And I'm going to use them as a heel lift to allow me to stay in a good position as I go down into a squat. So if you're somebody who feels your lower back when you squat, if you just have trouble with ankle mobility, whatever it is, typically giving somebody just a little bit of a heel lift is going to help maintain the position that we want from our hips and our spine when we go to squat. And the main thing out of all this is to keep you safe, right? So let's go over there. If you have weight, if you have like something where you can do a goblet style version of this squat, go ahead and do it, but do less reps. Shoot for something like more to 5 to 8 reps. For everything else, if you're doing body weight, let's go for at least 10, maybe 12 reps if you can, but this should be plenty challenging because we're going to really slow the tempo of the exercises and make sure that we're like owning the position. So I'll do it from the side view so you can see what I'm talking about here. So let's see, I'm going to change the camera view a bit. Let's see, that's enough. And you might not see part of my face, but that's okay. So here when I start in my squat, as I mentioned, that all force position can offer some guidance or help as far as progressing people's ability to control their rib cage as they squat. And so I'm going to cue big reach. As you reach, same thing, just like you were pushing your knees off the floor, keeping the abs on. We're going to take a big exhale, keeping the abs on. I'm going to descend into my squat, and we're going to go 5 seconds in the descend. 3, 2, 1. As we get to the bottom and hit parallel, we're going to pause. 2, and then you can come up as fast as you want. Just be in control. And so, especially when we're training athletes, we love for them to continue to focus on being fast in the concentric motions, but make sure that you're in control of your body. So if you're somebody who has a kettlebell, if you don't have any weight, just do 10 of those, 5 seconds down, nice and slow, pause at the bottom for 2 or 3, come up fast. If you do have a kettlebell, there's a couple of different variations in the way that we teach people to hold it. I think the more traditional way is probably holding it by the horns. The way that I like for most clients, and just because of the position, is to actually flip the bell and hold it this way. So why I like this is that it kind of allows people to drive their elbows forward a little bit better, and it's just easier to hold. And so from here, big exhale at the top, keeping my abs tight, coming down for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to pause. I'm going to hold on to this position. 2, 1. And just like we focused in that cook bridge and some of those other exercises when we were warming up, we want the movement to come from our hips, right? What we don't want to see is people coming up and then locking out with their back and like extending. Like own the position, feel it through the muscles. You're going to get a better workout that way. It's execution is key on these things. It's a basic movement, but if we execute it right, we're going to get a lot more out of it. So if you're doing body weight, I would think you're getting close to being done maybe. And then if you are using that weight, 5 to 8 is probably plenty for that round. Whew. And I don't know, we'll take like 30 seconds here. The next thing we're going to work on is those push-ups. And so if you need to modify to, because you're not strong enough to do body weight, then let's go ahead and go to the knees. if you have like a table or something you can push into like a stable position, like a couch, you can push into a wall or something, can use that as well. I'll demonstrate some body weight ones, and then I'll demonstrate some ones that you can use to kind of assist yourself too. And so again, the big thing with the push-up is being able to really control our core, making sure that our shoulder blades are moving. A lot of times if people's shoulder blades are stuck, they're going to feel a lot more tension through like the front of their shoulders, they're going to feel their neck, or they're just going to feel terrible stuff. So I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. Down. And so here, in our push-up, making sure that we are, already in a position where I'm kind of feeling that tension in my armpits. I'm going to extend my legs straight. Today, again, we're working on coming down nice and slow. So, even if you need to go to the knees, or if you can't do a body weight push-up, you could probably still do these. Just use your knees to come back up. Okay, so here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna tap my chest and right back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 to 8 of those. If you can do a couple more, go for it. No more than 10. Otherwise, you probably benefit from maybe going even a little bit slower, like 7 seconds, or adding some weight, like a weight vest, if you have it. It's a great exercise. Being able to push yourself off the ground is good. Oh, so I'll show you the assisted version. It's just going to the knees, coming here, coming down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, we're always focusing on being explosive in the concentric motion of the exercise, because speed and power is important. That's something Eric Cressy talked about earlier. It was either earlier this morning or last night. Was a lot of people are worried now going into isolation that their strength is going to decline, the power is going to decline. So I would recommend giving Eric Cressy a like or a follow and going and checking out that video where he talks about basically how frequent you need to be with like your power workouts, your strength workouts. That's something we're going to focus on. You don't lose your strength and your power as fast as you might think if you're just touching on it periodically. Like some of those things and some of those capacities are like every week, every 2 weeks. Like I think aerobic things are probably going to diminish. They diminish faster, and then power usually kind of diminishes pretty fast, like week or 2 week, and then so on. Anyway, moving forward. The last thing we're going to do is just a plank. And so, again, if you need a modified version of the plank, go back to that all fours position and focus on bringing the knees up off the ground. I feel like most people can do that, but let's go to the hard style plank here. So from our elbows, walking back. Again, I typically try to do things in breaths because I want people to be more mindful and focused in on what they're doing. And so from here, I'm going to squeeze my butt. I'm going to squeeze my heels together. I'm going to squeeze my abs as I take a big exhale. Squeezing my fists, keeping it all tight. So I'm focusing on trying to create as much tension as possible through everything. My fists, my butt, my quads, and that's really the same feeling we want to get when we come up out of our deadlift or our squat, so that we're like locked in at the top. Again, these exercises can be dogged, right? People are like, oh, that's easy, I don't feel anything. You've got to like actively put in the effort and take that big exhale, full exhale. Like the more breath you get out, the more you're going to feel your abs. I mean, that's just how it goes. Keep that tension nice and tight, and then try and take a breath in. And a lot of people panic because they're not used to that position to breathe from. And I don't know, it's good. We should be able to stay really tight here and then breathe. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how you're lifting a lot of weight over and over again. Valsalva is fine for certain situations, but for most people that just want to get stronger, it probably isn't the best strategy as far as breathing goes. Okay, let's go back to those squats. Again, if you're just doing body weight, we're going to focus in on more reps. And we're really focusing on the eccentric part of the movement, right? Like going down 5 to 7 seconds, nice and slow. So I'm at the top, I take a big exhale, abs are on, spine stays nice and straight. If you're somebody who has like a butt wink, sometimes I've seen that particular movement in the pelvis go away when we just get people to take a big exhale and kind of bring the pelvis and the abs together and the rib cage together here. So I'm not like flexing, I'm just trying to bring my rib cage to more of that exhalated position so these muscles have better leverage. And so when I go down, 4, 3, 2, 1, I have better control and I'm not like losing myself and winking my butt under, right? Like I'm trying to keep my spine in that same position, whether I'm going down or up in my squat. It's okay if you're a little bit, lordotic. It's probably actually safer than being too flexed. But just make sure once you go down into your squat that your spine isn't moving around, right? Whatever we decide is our starting point here, keep it, and just make sure your spine isn't like rotating and doing a bunch of weird stuff, especially if you're loaded. If you're somebody who has weight, we're focusing on 5 to 8 reps, nice and slow on the way down, 2-second pause, exploding back up, in control. If you are just doing body weight, then do more reps. Do reps till it burns. Somewhere between like a 7 and 8 out of 10 effort is what we're looking for on this. If you need to do more, just do more. I mean, squats are great. Quick breath, and then we're gonna go right into push-up. Nice, it's almost been a half hour. I think this might be like, after training for 7 years, I think in my head, I've got like an hour down, or like 55 minutes, because that's as long as our sessions are usually. We'll see how close I get today. Going back to that push-up, so we're gonna do 3 rounds of all this stuff. Back to that push-up, I'm up at the top, just like the plank, right? I got my butt tight, quads tight, coming down nice and slow, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, tapping that chest, boom, right back up. If I need to go to the knees to do the same thing, 2, 1, boom, that's fine. Come up as fast as you'd like, as long as you're in control, right? Yeah, I think we're supposed to find out more here in the next couple hours of what's going to happen with everybody, and I don't know. I think it's going to be at least two weeks of this. So, all right, going back to that plank position. I'm going to lower this a little bit. That plank position. This should, after coming and doing some push-ups, this should feel pretty familiar, right? So I'm gonna bring my feet together, squeeze my butt, squeeze my quads as I exhale. Keeping those abs on nice and tight. Inhale through the nose. I'm working on trying to create as much tension as I can when I exhale. Quads, my butt, grip, my armpits, everything is tight. It's the same feeling that we want to get when we come to the top of our deadlift or squat. Oh, somebody texted me. I just got a MacBook and I haven't figured out all the ins and outs with that thing, but okay, going back to those squats one last time. I'd say once we teach people how to put their hips and their spine in a better position, a lot of people who report having like knee pain or back pain, those things tend to become more minimal. Position is so important because if I just use my back and I'm used to doing that for everything, I'm not really gonna like challenge the muscles and like tissue in the way that we want. That's why you always hear me talk about breathing a lot and like staying in a good position, because you're just gonna get more out of it. And I don't know, especially coming from like a background where I play a lot of sports, like I'm pretty good at like cheating through stuff, and so especially like the more I strain through stuff, I just feel my back like I'm just good at doing that, which I don't know, comes in handy sometimes, but if I gotta lift a lot of weight. But most of the time I don't really need to do that. So big exhale, we're gonna reach if we're just doing the body weight. If you got your kettlebell, go for it. And then abs are tight, coming down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause, and then we're up. You can play around. If you're having a hard time getting to depth, you can play around with going a little bit wider. When we were at the pain-free seminar, the John Russin, they have that test where they kind of take your hips, and it seems like pretty much everybody benefited from going to a little bit wider base, or at least externally rotating their feet. And so opening up those hips a little bit. And I think it's good to be able to squat from all those different positions, right? But for today, we're not necessarily working on trying to do things perfectly. We're just working with what we got, doing our best, making sure that we're staying strong. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Finish out your reps, and let's go back to that push-up one more time. 10. I don't know, hopefully you can see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I need to clean under my couch. Going for 5 to 8 reps. If you can do more, 10 to 12, that's totally fine. I'd encourage you to go a little bit slower though if you can do more than that. By now we should be working at like an 8 out of 10 as far as our intensity level. Finish it out. And now we're going to our plank. One more time. And then we're going to start doing some split squats. And we'll talk about different variations. If you did grab a book, we'll talk about other variations of the split squat that I really like. Plank. Feet together, squeezing your butt, squeezing your quads. As I exhale, everything's tight. I said when I'm doing a lot of these drills, I want to hear my client's breath. A lot of people are weird about not, like breathing everything out and being like forceful with it. I don't know what that's all about, but let's make sure we're getting the most out of this. And yeah, breathe. Just breathe, especially now being in a more stressful situation for a lot of people. Anxiety is high. Breathing is one of the fastest ways to kind of manipulate our central nervous system. And so I encourage you to take long, full exhales, slow inhales through the nose, calm yourself down. We'll finish with 10 good breaths before we leave today, just so you're not all wound up after this. Alright, so we're going to do a couple more things here. We got a split squat, and let's just start with like a good old-fashioned 90-90 split squat. We're going to follow the same tempo that we did on the squats before, and so even being in this position for some people, once we clean up their position, they start to feel like a pretty good stretch in the front, and that's totally cool, and that's totally fine. Big thing we want to see though is that the knee, the hip, I gotta wear different colors because I'm just like blending into everything here. Hip, shoulder, and head are all stacked on top of each other. It should be pretty much like a straight line, right? And from here, I do still get a pretty good stretch. From this position, I typically like to have people reach just to give them a little bit of a counterbalance and to help, keep their ribs back. And from here, I'm going to come up. I'm coming down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try and get that pause at the bottom. Don't let the knee touch. Right back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for a second. Up. 5 to 8 reps. Again, the big thing that we're focusing on here is position, making sure that we're keeping our butt underneath us. See a lot of people kind of extend in this exercise too. They like to kind of get forward, or they're like coming off balance. Let's drive our butt underneath us. Squeeze my butt. Think about Pat Davidson, one of his cues. Getting your back pocket towards the floor, right? Trying to tuck my butt. Not necessarily bringing my head down, that was not good. Getting my butt underneath me. That's where I'm going to be able to maximize really feeling the tension from my hips, especially on this front leg, and really being able to drive from my hips and not my back. Should be switching sides. Again, we're shooting for 5 to 8 of those, 5 seconds on the way down. A little pause right before your knee touches the ground, and then you're going to come up as fast as you need. A lot of eccentric work today. It's a great way to get you a little bit sore. Making sure that we're making the most out of your time. If you're going to come join and watch this, I hope that you take some value from it. Maybe just cleaning up some of the basic movements, or getting a little bit more that you weren't before. And so the next movement, I usually do it on a wall. I guess I can just do that. Call it a wall press, and this is more a tricep exercise. I guess I was kind of playing around with some variations on the floor too, and I guess let's just start with that one. The main goal of this is just to really blow up the triceps. So from here, we're going to start with our elbow squat, kind of like if we were in a plank, right? Like if we were planking from our elbows, that's kind of the position that we're going to start in. And then from here, all we're going to do is try and extend our hands straight. Keeping my butt tucked, keeping my abs on. Coming down nice and slow, pushing away. Like I said, I usually do this against a wall, but I mean, I can feel my triceps pretty good here. Keeping my butt tucked. If you're having a hard time with this and it's just too weird, go to a wall. Same idea. Take a couple steps back, get on your toes. Elbows are flat on the wall, and you're gonna push away. If it's too easy, bring your hands down the wall a little bit. Again, bring yourself back to the wall slow. Don't go smashing your elbows into the wall. Come down slow. I guess you could probably progress this to like a standing position too. From here. Oh boy. That's pretty tough. Go for it. If you're strong enough and you feel like you really want to get those triceps blown up, I'll encourage you to go to a wall, going from the knees on the floor. Just make sure when we push away that we're really feeling those triceps. Finish out your reps, and let's go back to the split squat. So here, another version of the split squat I really enjoy, especially if you're somebody who has a hard time staying in a good position, like keeping your butt underneath you, and you tend to want to extend or really shift, is elevating the front foot, either with a heel lift or just elevating it with a box. And what it tends to do is put you in a little bit more of attention to that front leg, and man, it's just hard. It's challenging. It's funny how little you need to elevate that front leg for it to become so much harder. So I'm just going to use the book as a heel lift. I've been doing this with a lot of clients where I'll actually just put their whole foot on the box, but I don't have a box, so from here, I'm keeping my butt underneath me. Big exhale, nice and tall. I'm going to push. Boom. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keeping that tension on that front foot. Again, 5 to 8. I mean, even just with a little bit of that heel, I feel so much more tension through this front leg and like through my hamstring. Especially if we're somebody who has a hard time, like we're more knee dominant, or we do tend to be a little bit more lordotic, and our posture is a little bit more forward, like our head is more forward. Tools like this or exercises like this tend to help us come back, right? Like if I can get this foot a little more elevated, get my heel, feel my heels, getting my weight back, like it just helps me stay more upright. It can clean things up really, really fast, which is nice. I'm all about like trying to give people the least amount of cues and just putting them in a position where they can work really hard and get stronger and not feel like I'm picking them apart with every little thing. Like, I don't know, if you saw me like 5 years ago, maybe that was a different story, but yeah, we all grow. Alright, back to that funky wall press or tricep press thing here from the floor. So I think if you just start with like a plank on your knees and bring your feet up and you're just pushing away, coming down nice and slow, pushing away. I guess I didn't give you a rep range. Do more of these, do like 10 to 15. Nice and slow, whether you're on the wall, like I said, bringing your elbows up, connected to the wall, pushing away. If it's too easy, you gotta go a little bit lower. Make sure you're on your toes. That'll give you a better lever point to push yourself from. And you're gonna knock out 10 to 15 of those. We're gonna go through one more set of each of those. And then, I guess I might not make it to 55, but that's okay. And then we'll go through some quick breathing. And then I'll just talk a little bit. I haven't looked at the screen, so I don't know if there was any questions. We can talk about that. And then just kind of set more of an expectation of each morning. I'm going to set up a routine where we'll all come in and get a workout. 7 o'clock, I mean, we can't go to the gym, so that doesn't mean we can't work out. No excuses. Don't even need any equipment, right? So back to those split squats. So if you like the version where your foot was elevated and you felt that a little bit more, awesome. If you have kettlebell, take that kettlebell and front load it like a goblet squat. Coming down. And if you don't have any of that stuff and you just want to stay with the first variation that we did, that's cool too. So from here, making sure that I'm stacked, right? My bottom knee, my hip, my shoulder, everything is stacked on top of each other. I'm pressing myself straight up. So another mistake I see people do is that they're gonna either shift like way back or like way forward, like try and keep the balance here, but I would say 80% of the weight should be dispersed through that front leg, pushing up, boom. And I'm like pushing into the floor, like being active with like pushing and like suctioning myself into the floor. And that's what's gonna help maximize the tension in your legs, right? If you're really off balance, you can even use like, I don't know, a broom or something to help you. Want to like use the edge of a couch, whatever you got to do to help you balance. You can still do this exercise. I do this exercise with like pretty much every client. If they have a hard time with balance, I'll just set them up where I'll have them maybe do like a Hatfield style lunge or squat where you have the pins in the rack and they can kind of hold on to something as they are like coming up and down and balancing. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff like a table at your house, a chair, whatever. One more time, we're going to that tricep press. I do have some dumbbells in the garage, so I think in some of these workouts I will integrate some of that, but I'd love to keep options open for people who just don't have any equipment, because I don't know, at this point you probably just need to stay at home, like going out and about trying to get things. You might be able to get things ordered to your house, that'd be cool. I don't really know what's an option. I think I ordered something from Amazon the other day and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not sure if they're being affected. I assume they are. So from here, bringing those elbows down, pressing away, keeping those abs on. So this is usually done on a wall. If you have a wall available to you, elbows to the wall, pressing away, coming back nice and slow. If it's too easy, you gotta walk your feet back and get your elbows lower on the wall. You will feel it at some point. Try not to get to the point where it's like impossible. I feel like clients go from like it's too easy to I can't do this at all. Like come down the wall slow, progress yourself. Don't get too carried away. And so as you're finishing up, tomorrow we'll focus more on like pulling exercises, some of the equipment that you might want. If you have a hardwood floor, just like a towel. If you're on carpet, even a piece of paper, something that you can slide your foot, magazine, whatever. Like we're gonna be doing like some single leg RDLs, definitely going through some hinging. If you have like a couch that you can use, we're gonna try and do some like hip thrusts, Definitely like some posterior chain pulling work. Trying to still get pretty creative about like how to integrate more pulling exercises without much equipment. Like this is where it'd be really nice to have like a TRX or some rings. I think I have some rings in the garage. But like I said, I'd love to keep this as much body weight as possible. Ordering super bands is a good option. Those are relatively cheap and you can do a ton of different exercises with them. And kettlebells, obviously, another great tool. And I'll probably integrate more of that. I mean, if you can just get like one kettlebell, I mean, you can still, like a 12 or a 16, I think you could probably get a pretty damn good workout. And so you probably finished up your reps. We're going to finish with just trying to bring you to a more rest and digest position. Times are, a little bit stressful and people are anxious. I know I've been pretty anxious. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but inevitably there's nothing I can do about it. So the best thing is just to be around the few people that you're quarantined with and have a good time. Like, I don't know, FaceTime people. We've got like a ton of games. We're like really big on board games. I got like a whole stack here. I'll show you in a little bit. Try and keep that morale up. But let's finish with some good exhales. We're going to take 10 full exhales before we leave the workout today. We're going to go in through the nose. You're going to try and draw the breath out through your mouth like you're blowing. It can be like kind of like you're trying to fog up a mirror. Let's use that breath. And we'll start from we'll do it from a hook lying position. So from here, my heels are flat. I'm mostly passive, right? I'm not trying to do like the active plank now. I'm mostly passive, but I will try and get my back flat on the ground. And I usually keep my hands on my ribs. So I'm going to inhale through the nose. And I'm going to take that exhale. I'm going to try to hold that exhale as long as I comfortably can. For some people, it's not going to be very long. But the longer that you're able to hold that exhalated position, the more effective this particular breathing is on bringing you down to a more parasympathetic rest and digest state. In through the nose. You're going to continue your breaths here until you get to 10. When you are done, get up slow. Sometimes these long, drawn-out exhales can make you a little bit lightheaded, and it's definitely going to, hopefully, bring the tone and tension down in your body, so you're going to feel a little bit weird, especially if you've never done this before. Just make sure that come up slow, so full exhale, get it all out, try to hold that position as long as you comfortably can. As long as you start to feel starved for air, that's when you're going to take the inhale slowly through the nose. All the air out. The more air that you get out and the longer that you're drawing air out, the better. I see quite an improvement with clients' movement as they improve that capacity of getting the air out of their body. We can talk about that another time. Finishing out your breaths. Hopefully whatever you're up to today, you find, we're going to get some more news and things are going to continue to likely escalate, but if you need more ideas on workouts, feel free to reach out. I would love for more and more people to come join every morning. That'd be really fun. So I love coaching, so I'm going to continue to do what I love to do. I don't know. I know we got a bunch of trainers going crazy. They're already trying to figure out how they can get a bunch of equipment out to a grass lawn, and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you joining me today. If you found it to be helpful, I'm going to be in every morning, 7 o'clock. We're going to do it. If you got other people you know that would benefit from joining us, I think just about anybody could probably come in and jump in on the workout, because I'm going to be giving progressions and regressions to every exercise. That does make it a little bit more challenging for some of you like super fit people that are probably mostly in my circle. But I'm going to try to make this hard for you too. Make sure that you're actually, getting some value out of being here and coming together every morning. I think that'll be super fun. So I will release this video maybe on YouTube as well. I think I can save it and do that. But let's see if we had any questions. I don't know if we did. Get it. No, you guys have jumped in, but I don't know that you worked out. So if you just jumped in and didn't work out, you got to work out now. Like, go back and watch the video and get it done. Hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in the morning. See ya.